Hi, this is Mike from CCSL, and today I'm going to be going through recording a macro and editing it to save a step file. So what I've got here is a dummy cube, which is going to be the model I want to save. So I'm going to use the macro recorder. This is just the toolbar for it, and this will record every click I do with the mouse, or every function in SOLIDWORKS. So I'm going to go to File, Save As, save it in the same folder I've saved my part, choose Step File, and click Save. And that will record the steps. So I'm going to stop that recording and save that as a step save macro. And now what I can do is edit the macro, and that'll open up the Vba Editor. And what we've got here are the normal declarations at the top that SOLIDWORKS has put in for us. SOLIDWORKS app, part, role status. Some of these go in as standard and will be explained later. And then below in the main, we have getting the SOLIDWORKS application, selecting the active document, and then the process that we used, which is from the active document, save as, and save it in that folder structure with that name. So that's a good starting point. It does exactly how we did it. If we were to run that now, it would save as a step file in the same folder with the same name, which is something we don't want. So I'm going to add a new declaration to the top. I'm going to use SOLIDWORKS model, and I'm going to pull in the SOLIDWORKS library, and this is going to be because I'm going to pull some tools that aren't available when using part as object. So the other declarations I want to make are the path. What I'm going to use that for, that's a string, so that's any section of data. So a file name or file path can be there, or any text values. Okay, so they're the declarations. And now what I want to do is edit the main commands of the macro. So I'm going to change part there to be the SOLIDWORKS model. And what I want to do now is select the path, which will be the folder structure. So to do that, I'm going to say set the path, which is the string, as being equal to, and I'm going to pull in the SOLIDWORKS model library. And if I use the full stop, you can see here that I can pull in commands. So I'm going to use get path name, and that'll pull in the full path, including the file name and extension. I'm then going to use that information that we've just got just to remove the extension from the file. So this will be a string as well from the left, so we're going left to right. The next value, as you can see there, is length. So after I said we're pulling the path in, the length of this is going to be the same length as the full path, but we want to remove the extension, so that's going to be minus 7. So right now we'd have that users demo desktop test cube without the .sldprt, and then we want to add whatever we want the file to be called. So I'm just going to call it test step. So that would be cube test step would be the full file name. So we get the path from where the file is saved, and then we get the file name by taking away the file extension from the path. So that SLDPRT up here will be removed. That's 7 letters. Okay, next what I would do would be to comment on this little section. It's important, especially when learning, and in case someone goes back to your work or you do after a certain amount of time, to save and comment on sections. Okay, so that would work as we've got here. But what I want to add as well is a feedback loop. So I'm going to use the if function, and what that'll do is, if a certain set of rules are not met or are met, do A, and if they're not, do B. So I'm going to say if the path is empty, then give me a warning. So I'm going to use the message box command and just say save file first. And then end the commands. And then what you have to do once you use an if function is use the end if, so it knows once that's finished. So what we've got there is if the path equals nothing, then save the file, and that'll make sure that the path exists, and we can use the rest of our commands. So just reading over the code, what I'll need to do, I'll need to change the folder structure here to equal file name, and then no matter what it's called and where it's tested, it always will go in with test step afterwards. So I'll run through this. It may fail here just on the last statement. So if I click run, yeah, so it's coming up with object variable with block variable not set. And if we use debug, it'll point to the line where it's the issue. And what we've got here is the part, so we removed that. So it means it doesn't know what part it is. We didn't set it in the main functions. Like we said, we went over to SW model. So I'm going to change that now. The reason I'm doing this is to have access to the library and keep things consistent. So SW model is set as the active doc, and that'll run through. Okay, so that looks like it's done. I'll just check. Yep, we've got cube test step here. So we know that that's worked. However, if you want to test it whilst it hasn't been saved, I'll just create a new SOLIDWORKS empty model. And if I try and run the macro now, okay, so it's given us another warning, and it's saying the file name, there's nothing there, it doesn't make sense. So what we need to do is we need to put this section here above the file name. So now if there isn't a path, we'll get the warning before it tries to run. Yeah, and then it could run through. So that's how I would start creating a macro. Is record the steps you want and then make the changes. We could add to this, maybe save as different file types or in different folders for different conditions. I'd use the SOLIDWORKS API help. It's for learning new functions and libraries